All right, guys, with the market changing the way that it is, FHA loans are becoming a huge part of what we're seeing, especially in those lower price points. What can sellers do to make themselves look shiny and beautiful? Stay tuned and I'll tell you.
You better get fired up.
Guys, great seeing you. Happy Monday. Hopefully you had a great weekend. We're here every single Monday with What's Hot, where we talk about the hottest things in the real estate market. And we're here usually at 11 o'clock, but today I've got a load of appointments. It's just been a really hot market, so I had to move everything up here today. But I want to talk about FHA loans because even though they're very popular always, they've become increasingly popular as of late, especially in that I'm going to call it the first-time home buyer price point. I'm saying 325 to 400,000 here in Port St. Lucie. It's really hard to find a home under 325 that doesn't have some sort of undesirable issue. Doesn't mean you wouldn't buy it. Doesn't mean it's not a good home. But typically you're going to see either an older roof or an older AC, or the whole house is dated, or it's got, older windows or something. There's going to be something about it that you just aren't going to really like about the house. Most buyers are looking for a mostly or fully updated house. They want a roof that's, say, 5-10 years old or newer. They want an AC that's, say, 5 years or newer. And you really don't even start to see that till you hit 350, 375 in most cases. It's not impossible, but it's incredibly challenging. So we're seeing a lot of FHA loans. What does that mean? Well, there are some challenges, some hurdles that come along with FHA loans that you're not going to see with conventional loans. You're certainly not going to see with cash. So let's talk about them, because if we talk about them, then we can talk about the ways to overcome those issues and kind of be a problem solver instead of someone who's got to reactively deal with some of these problems, right? Which nobody wants to do. So the first thing is you're going to have different issues that pop up on an appraisal inspection. So typically what we're going to see is an appraiser comes through maybe a week or two after you get through inspection, right? People usually wait until after the inspection period, which is anywhere from 5 to 10 days, probably 90% of the time. And then they hire their appraiser, okay? When that appraiser comes out and gets everything done, they're looking at the value of the property and they're saying, hey, within the restrictions of an FHA loan, it's government backed, so we've got government stipulations. Are there any things that need to be repaired, replaced, changed, fixed, whatever you want to call it, in accordance with these stipulations, right? So some major things that I see pop up, or the things I see pop up most often, are wood rot is probably the biggest. If you've got fascia boards, which if this is your roof line, you've got a board that comes down. It's probably, I don't know, 4 or 5 inches wide, I'm guessing. And it is usually wood. And that's where I see the most wood rot. Now, you can also see it on the frames of doors. You can see it on the framing of windows. But typically where I see it the most is going to be those fascia boards. And typically where I'm going to see it the most is on the corners, right? So go look along the edge of your house. I can go around a house in 2-3 minutes very slowly, and it only takes 2-3 minutes. And I'm looking at the edges, I'm looking at the corners, and I'm looking for that wood to not be in 90-degree angle shape, I guess is the best way to say it. You'll start to see some deterioration of that wood, right? And that is a fungi, potentially, that's on the wood eating away at it, and it's wood rot. And I've got wood rot on my house. I'll probably never fix it, to be honest with you, and it'll probably never be a major issue. Maybe if I sell in 20, 30 years, I'll go back and fix that. But until then, it's just not a big deal to me. And as soon as I replace it, I'm probably going to have the issue in 3-4 years again. So it is what it is. And to fix it really isn't that expensive. I've had several homes. I don't know how many homes I've sold that have had wood rot, but I would guess 30, 40, 50 of them. And I don't think anybody's ever paid over $1,000 to fix wood rot, right? You're taking down a small piece of wood, you're replacing it with a new piece of wood, and you're painting over it. And that's it. That's the whole deal. So it's fairly cheap. A lot of people can get it done themselves, but that's the thing I see pop up the most. That is not negotiable, okay? If I'm the buyer and you're the seller and you've got, I don't know, ugly cabinets, it's negotiable as to whether or not you're going to give me a credit, or you're going to replace them, or you're going to reface them, or whatever it is I'm asking you to do. That's a negotiation between you and me. You can say yes or no. I can ask for a ton or a little or nothing, or anything in between. But when it comes to these FHA issues, there's no negotiation. FHA is saying it must be fixed, it must be replaced to whatever our standard is, or this loan will not go through, right? So that's a big difference in negotiations. That's got to be understood. Another thing I typically see is broken or cracked windows. It doesn't happen a ton, but especially on lower price point homes, people will have a hairline crack and they just don't want to fix it. It's not really impacting them, and it's expensive to fix or replace. So let's just leave it there, right? Okay, while you're living there, that's one thing. But when you go to sell, FHA is going to say, hey, that's got to be fixed, or we're not going to allow the loan to go through. So I'm going through one of those right now. A repair can cost hundreds of dollars. A replacement could cost over $1,000. But if you don't get it done, you just got rid of, I don't know what FHA makes up, probably 70% of buyers in that price point. You just got rid of all those buyers. You don't want to get rid of those buyers. So getting that done opens up your buyer pool dramatically, allowing you to get more showings, more offers, and stronger offers. Okay. Another one is if you've got tile. Now, a hairline chip is not going to get called out by FHA. But if it's a safety hazard, meaning imagine a 2-inch square chunk pulled out of your tile, and now you've got maybe a 1/4 inch of lip of that tile, right? You could trip on that. You could stub your toe on that. You could cut yourself. A lot of little things could happen that on a hairline crack you're not going to have. That's a safety hazard that will likely be called out by FHA. So that's something you're going to want to fix. Again, is it expensive to change out a tile? No, it's really not. But if you've got 15, 20, 25-year-old tile, finding that matching tile might be the most challenging part. That is going to be the problem that you're going to have. So that's not something you want to start dealing with when you put the home in the market. That's something you want to deal with a month, 2 months, 3 months before you put it on the market, just in case timing becomes an issue. Now, all these problems I'm talking about can be found, and you can find proactive solutions to them instead of worrying about it when a buyer, your hottest buyer with your best offer, is in the middle of a negotiation mid-inspection. You can take care of all this by getting a pre-listing inspection done. I work with DBJ Inspections here locally. I've worked with them for 6 years. They're phenomenal. They're going to come through to a pre-listing before you list it inspection, and they're going to tell you every single issue that they would normally tell a buyer. The difference is A, you know about it up front, and B, you can start to make some of these changes. So you can go to Home Depot, and probably most people are going to have 20, 25, 30 issues pop up on a home inspection. You just are. And you might say, no, my home is beautiful. My home is beautiful. I'm going to have 25 issues pop up. It just is what it is. You start to get used to things around your house, right? And you don't care, like the cracked window. So you can fix probably half of those issues for $300-400 in a Home Depot trip. And now you can take all those receipts, staple them to that report, and leave it right there on your countertop when people are coming through to do showings. Isn't that helpful, right? If you're going to see some of these big issues that would scare away a buyer, maybe a leaky roof or an AC that's not cooling to the temperature it should, or you've got electric that's exposed or double tap box, right? You've got some sort of issue that's going to be a problem. Maybe that wood rot we talked about. Now you can proactively take care of it. And you get, again, you can staple all those receipts to that report so that those buyers can see that. Imagine you're a buyer coming in on a house and you see a report. They already did the inspection. Wow, that's going to save me $400 or $500. Awesome. And then you start looking and they had 25 issues and 17 of them have been fixed. And the big scary issues are amongst those that have been fixed. Wow. And I've got receipts to back up all of this. That makes me feel really comfortable. That, along with seller's disclosures, this house is looking pretty doggone good, right? So you're really setting yourself up for success with that. The next thing you want to look at is 4-point issues. So a 4-point inspection is going to be submitted to your insurance company to make sure that they're able to give you insurance, right? And on there, you're talking about the big 4 items: your air conditioning unit, your electric, your roof, and your plumbing. I don't personally see a lot of plumbing issues. They do pop up, but that's not something I typically see. A leaky roof is your biggest issue, hands down. It's the thing that stops the most amount of deals. And you can keep a deal together with a leaky roof. It's not a problem, but it's unquestionably got to be repaired. Now, if you look at the odds of someone moving forward, right? And I'm going to talk about 2 different buyers. One buyer sees a pre-listing inspection, sees you had a leaky roof, sees that you had a roofer, a licensed and insured roofer come out and fix it, and you've got a paid invoice attached to the report saying, hey, we fixed it, it's good to go. And then you look at buyer B, and that buyer is mid-offer. They're in the middle of their inspection contingency period. Their inspector tells them there's a leaky roof. Now, you agree to fix it, but which one's going to be more emotional? That second one's going to be more emotional. And the odds that that buyer backs out is much greater than the odds of the first buyer backing out. Okay, so if you're able to get that pre-listing inspection, yeah, it costs you $400 or $500, but now you're able to save a deal, keep your strongest offer, because that second offer is almost always going to be less than that first offer. Almost always. Because they're going to, hey, you've got a red flag. It fell apart. Why did it fall apart? Whatever you tell me, I think it's your house. It can't possibly be the loan. It can't possibly be the buyer. It's got to be your house. There's a problem. What's the problem? And it doesn't matter if it's true. That's the perception. So now you've got scared buyers making scared offers, right? So getting that pre-listing inspection done helps a lot. You want to clear up that 4-point. That's a no-brainer because people are going to have a tough time getting insurance without it. Now, here's some things you can offer that are fairly reasonable in price to attract those people in those lower price points. 325 to 400 buyers, right? 325 up to 400,000. Those buyers are typically very tight on cash. When I'm looking at $1 million buyer, if they've got a $10,000 issue, it's really not a problem for most of them. They've got the cash to fix it. It's just, do I like it or don't I like it? If I like it, I'm going to pay for it. If I don't, I won't. When you're talking about a $500 issue with a buyer at that $325,000 to $400,000 range, that can be a big problem because income-wise, they've got a much lower income. So to attract them, what can we do? We can do a couple things. Number one, you've got rate buydowns. You could do a rate buydown for the life of the loan. That's going to be a little bit more expensive. It's very attractive. Or you can do a short-term rate buydown. They have 2-1 buydowns or 3-2-1 buydowns where you're buying, let's just say a 2-1 buydown. And let's say that the interest rate is 6.5%. You're going to get with that lender and find out what would the payment be if instead of 6.5%, it was 4.5%. Whatever that is, let's just say that that's $2,000 a month. But at 6.5%, it would be $2,400 a month. Okay, so that $400 difference times 12 months is $4,800. Okay, and then what would it be for the second year at a 1% reduction? Remember, we're doing a 2-1 buy down. Okay, there, let's just say it's half. It's another $2,400. That's $7,200. You could pay $7,200 or offer to pay $7,200 for a 2-1 buy down. We're going to buy your rate down 2% for the first year, 1% for the second year, and then you're back to the normal rate. You're going to get a way better deal financially with us than you are anywhere else. Now, that's exactly the same as a $7,200 price reduction, but for some buyers, that mentally is the thing that they need, especially if they're in a situation where they know they're tight on cash now, but they're getting that raise or they're paying off that credit card or something's happening over the next year or two that's going to loosen up their finances a little bit and make it easier for them to make that payment. That's going to become very attractive to them. All right. Here's another one. You could offer to pay closing costs. Right now, that's one of the biggest challenges that buyers in that price point have is covering closing costs. When it says in the remarks, seller to pay 3% in closing costs, seller to pay $10,000 of closing costs, instantly buyers become attracted to it, even if it's not the number one house. If it's the number 2, 3, 4 house, they're still probably going to move forward with a lot of interest. If it's the number 5 house, probably not going to cut it. But if it's towards the top, man, it just became very attractive. Putting 10 grand on a loan, which equals about 60, 70 bucks a month in payment, is much less attractive. Taking 10 grand off in that loan and saving them 60, 70 bucks a month is much less attractive for most buyers than covering 10 grand of their closing costs, because that's 10 grand cash out of pocket. A lot of these people have 15, 20 grand. That's it. So if they're going to come to closing and they got to come with 12 and they only got 15, that means they only got 3 left. But if you're covering 10 of it, now they got 13 left. That is a game changer. That's an emotional change. Whereas if I tell you, hey, your loan's going to be $60 more expensive or $60 cheaper, most people don't care. They just don't, right? So if you're able to cover closing costs, that is massive for a buyer. Last thing, And this is if you've got some older appliances, or maybe your AC is 15 years old, or whatever it is, but you've got some things that you know people with a little amount of cash are going to have some worries about. You can invest anywhere from $700 to $1,200, depending upon the program you go with, and get yourself a home warranty. That warranty can be transferred to that buyer. And now for a year, 18 months, 24 months, depending upon the warranty you get, if anything happens to anything that passes inspection, your AC, your appliances, your roof, your whatever, you can get septics covered, you can get pools covered. There's all kinds of things you can get covered. Now they pay a small deductible. I think with the plan we use, it's $75, and that thing is fixed. So now as a buyer, if I'm looking at home one and home two, and both look really good, but this one offers a warranty. So if I've got any out-of-pocket issues for the first year, 18 months, 24 months, it's covered with a $75 deductible. Man, after closing, I've only got $3,000 to my name. This one's looking pretty damn attractive. This one's looking a little scary. Even if I like this one a little bit more, I might go with this one just because it's got the warranty. That can be a game changer. So guys, there are some things that you can offer to really spruce up your listing, to make it more attractive to buyers. And you've got to think about the mindset of the buyer. Does it make any sense to offer a warranty on an $800,000 home? In my opinion, no. Those buyers do not care about your warranty at all. But at $300,000 to $400,000, yes, that is very valuable, very helpful to those people. They're going to like that, and it's going to attract them to your listing. Guys, if you've got future topics you'd like me to touch on in What's Hot every single Monday at 11 o'clock, feel free to put it in the comments, or you can send me a private DM, and I'm happy to do it. Have a phenomenal Monday.